Ben is a hot mess. Like if you are like really busy.
Be careful what you say,
No, as in like okay, like Ben.
One moment he's selling your koyok, next moment he decides to.
No, as in like.
And I know a couple of law students that have difficulty meeting that because of night luck, which causes them to miss out on. So in night classes lah, you don't really know what night luck is yet. Good luck.
Yo, good luck.
Yes, good luck to you. But.
Hello everyone, welcome to episode 4 of Suits Goes Live, Keeping Your Head. Once again, my name is Christabel, and my co-host Shawn and I are joined today by Daryl and Shawn. Today, we are talking about balancing life outside of law school, whether that be in residential college or in other NUS CCAs. Thank you guys for joining us today. Could you please introduce yourselves?
Yeah, my name is Daryl. I'm a soon-to-be year 2 law student. I was told to have some fun facts, but I think I only really have one for you. So I guess I've been playing the saxophone for 16 years. So about since primary 2. I hope the math is right. Yeah. How about you, Shawn?
Hi, I'm Shawn. I'm a rising year 2 like Daryl. Fun fact is that both of us actually were from the same class, or one of the same tutorial groups. I'm currently staying in Cinnamon College with a USP program.
Where are you staying, Daryl?
At home.
So what activities are y'all involved in? So like, for Shawn, like, since you're staying in Cinnamon, what are you doing in Cinna?
So I'm currently working on the USC Management Committee as a finance secretary, as well as leading my own interest group, Captain's Ball, USC Captain's Ball, together with few other USP students. How about you, Daryl?
There are like a few activities I'm part of. Also, like the main one, I guess, would probably be I'm with the NUS Wind Symphony. So, like, I guess roughly it's like we have 3 main concerts a year, and I think currently now what do I say? I think now we're preparing for the Singapore International Band Festival. That will be in July. So come and listen if you want to. Follow us at NUS Wind Symphony on Instagram. The pieces are the pieces are really hard for now. Yeah, so I think that's what's happening for now. Then also I'm also acting in the capacity as a publicity officer. Yeah, for band. So now currently like we're just working on the work plan for the next AY, and also like this the summer engagement this round lah. Yeah, outside of like NUS, I also do like grassroots work, I guess. So I also act as in capacity of like a grassroots leader for Marine Parade constituency. So like we do like some events, like rough events are like dumpling festival lah. Then there's also NDP lah. Yeah.
Oh, you do NDP?
Yeah, we are gonna do some stuff for NDP.
Can leak?
Huh?
Can leak stuff?
Cannot leak, bro.
No, but for NDP it was a very long lead up time, so did it affect your studies or?
Oh, no lah. It's still fine for
pending
now.
lah.
Yeah, because now we're still at the rough planning stage.
Oh.
I think for both of us, our commitments were more ad hoc. If not, it's regular, maybe once a week. I see you in Newtown quite often though. Like every now and then I see you in Newtown.
Oh, Ben is a hot mess. Like if you are like really busy.
Be careful what you say,
No, it's in like okay, like Ben.
One moment he's selling your koyok, next moment he decides to.
No, it's in like okay. Actually, honestly, like Ben is really fun, but what I mean by hot mess is like during like closer to concert periods, right? Our practice sessions can go up to 3 times a week, which is quite bad. And like the usual days are like Wednesdays, Thursdays, and Sundays. But other than that, I think the commitment's still like okay. It's only closer to the concert period, which I realize is going to be very often for the next AY.
But concert periods and like the periods where like finals periods or like high Acads stress periods, do they tend to overlap?
Oh, yeah, I mean there was one overlap lah. So I had to make a trade-off lah. So for example, for this round, I think we had this concert in Tempo. So it's like our formal concert event. We were broken into 3 different groups because of COVID lah. So I was placed in group A at first, but group A timing like clashed with some of our module timings and whatnot. So in view of finals and school scheduling, I had to request to be shifted to a less intense group, so to speak.
But was it like quite easy to, I guess, ask for that shift in timing?
Yeah. I think the good thing about I think it's for like CFA. It means like all the arts-based CCAs. I think they're quite flexible. So like if you tell them of some of the constraints you have, I think they're like willing to work around those things. But I'm not very sure like outside of arts groups. I guess arts groups people are like generally quite nice.
Generally.
No, but I think CCAs in general, even though I don't attend any, are quite liberal in the sense that, I mean, if you cannot keep up with the commitments, you can always leave lah. Which is kind of sad lah. But I mean, yeah, that's the good thing about CCAs now. It's really how much you can take up. I think there's a difference between that and residential colleges, in the sense that once you're in a residential college program, you can't actually leave it. I mean, you can, but it'll be quite sad. You'll just be like completely leaving the program altogether. And in terms, so that was really talking about the non-academic extracurricular things that he's doing. So for me, it's really much more academic because I'm coming from USP, and I mean, I'm speaking also for NUS College here, in a sense that students that are doing law and U-Town programs will have to take on additional modules. And for a lot of residential colleges, these are usually on enrichment basis. But for USP, these actually count towards your grades. So I think compared to Daryl, the additional workload comes from really academics when you come from these residential colleges as compared to his CCAs. So there's not really much of an opt-out unless you completely drop out from the program, which is quite sad. The good thing I would say compared to CCAs is that you do have a residential program, so you actually get to stay on U-Town. The drawback is that unlike everyone else that has lessons in Kent Ridge, you actually still have to travel all the way down to BTC, so it's kind of counterintuitive. But it's really a good experience to meet non-law students from NUS and actually a wider community.
Definitely. Because like, I don't know, like being part of band, right? You really see everyone from every faculty. It's like you have medicine, you have computer science, and the way they think are like, the way they think is very, very different from how we think. So, oh yeah, but something about staying on campus, right? Actually, if you are in a CCA and you somehow get elected into EXCO, you can be nominated to stay at UT. So you can have some residential life, I guess.
And halls as well, actually, although I can't really speak for halls. It does help get you on the halls master list, which will make it easier for you to actually get a room in halls. So generally, having an extracurricular experience does actually help you get a residential experience on campus. Non-academic residential experience, but still a residential experience nonetheless.
So we all recommend these residential life, I guess, especially for the freshies who are thinking about staying, whether that be in CAPT or in hall, but maybe a bit more apprehensive because, law school is in BTC.
Yeah, and I think a good addition to that question is, if you think it's a good idea to stay on campus, how do you balance sort of that life with law school? Because law school is pretty busy, usually. So how do you manage your time basically? Do you have to sort of sacrifice something in exchange for maybe grades or sleep or etc.?
I think Shawn can answer this better than I do.
I think in terms of one thing I'll first say is that I think by the time this podcast goes out, those that have applied for residential programs have already gotten it. So it's really about the experiences that they have because most of them have already applied and they have alreally gotten the place. So for those of you that are currently have a placement but want to know what experience is like, I'll say that it's the good thing about it is really that you have a place to stay at. You have a community to be with rather than just traveling to and fro from law. I think law, if you don't actively take part in law clubs, law sub clubs, or FOCC, like the two people in front of me, then you don't actually have much of a community to be around. You just go for classes, then you leave to go home, and I think that can be very lonely and sad yeah.
No, I actually quite agree with what you're saying. So I think the important part here, I think just generally having U-Town an experience, right? It's like having that sense of community, right? Because within law school, I find that most of my peers, right, or the conversations we have is very limited to what do you need to read for cream today, or like what do you need to prepare for tutorial today. But like when you go outside of U-Town, it's like, and then like you find people with a similar interest, people with the same like motivations and passions as you in terms of like maybe arts or whatever. I feel like the conversations are much more like dynamic because the people got varied experiences there. So
yeah, exactly. So it's really about widening your social circle lah. I think to address the other Shawn's point on what drawbacks, I think for myself it's not been that big of an issue, and I don't think anyone living in a residential college is that concerned. Halls have it a bit more difficult because you do need to clock a minimum number of points in order to get stay. And I know a couple of law students that have difficulty meeting that because of night luck, which causes them to miss out on. So in night classes lah, you don't really know what night luck is yet. Good luck.
Yo, good luck.
Yes, good luck to you. But there is issues in terms of commitment for those staying in halls, especially because they do need to clock CCAs. And I know quite a number of people that are currently rising year 2 law students that are not going to be staying in hall, either because they didn't clock enough points or they don't wish to continue on in the hall experience. But for residential colleges, I think the pressure is certainly lifted off. For speaking about the rest of the U-Town College program, most of the enrichment modules are, I think if not all, are held during the first sem of year 2. Speaking specifically about NUSC, there is only one module that I think should be taken within your year 1 sem 1, 4MC module. So yes, you are technically overloading compared to your peers, but I don't think that's too great of an issue too lah. One thing I felt as a law student was that actually a lot of people make a lot of noise, say law very intense, but I felt that I got a lot of free time in law. And I'm not saying that as like, oh, I'm so intelligent that I have so much free time. No. Yeah, you don't understand anything. The point I'm making is that you have a lot of free time in the way, if you look at your a timetable and you compare that timetable to your peers, you have chunks of time. Like I think some of us have like one lesson. Actually, most of us only have one tutorial a day, and it could be like at 10 to 1, longest 10 to 1 or like 9 to 11.
In Sem 1, the longest lesson in school was 2 hours.
Yeah, then after that you got the whole day free.
Yeah.
So I think more important than that is really about how you allocate the time for yourself. It doesn't matter whether or not you're in a residential college or I think you're in ACC. It's really about your own self-discipline and whether or not you can do time management, which I dare say I didn't do very well lah. But I think that's really very important if you are going to be committed in other activities.
Oh no, I actually had this thought like just now only. Like, okay, aside from the fact that maybe for my circumstance, which is slightly different from Shawn's, I actually had to make trade-offs with my time. Like, I kind of really thought about it. Like, although yes, law is actually very intense, so to speak. We have a lot of like as Shawn mentioned, like periods of time where we can actually study or do other things, right? But I feel like sometimes we have to open, like for me, like I was open to the perspective where actually there are other people who have very intense schedules, right? Because of their maybe
like not by choice,
their faculty, but they also do a lot of outside stuff. So within my CCA itself, I have people who are computer science students who are taking up VP positions. Then within my own section also, I have one saxophonist that he's currently running like one of the bigger positions in USU. So he's whenever I'm next to him, right, his timetable is always, it looks like it's a nightmare, the way he organizes his time. But somehow he always finds the time to he does really well in school lah.
What trade-offs do you need to make?
Oh, because like just now I mentioned, more of the concerts that we had for Sem 2 clash with some of the timetable scheduling.
I think that's not so much a trade-off. Trade-off I think would be like, oh, I had to purposely give up. This is just
So the thing here is that I had to make a choice whether I want to like, how do I say,
attend class and go for concert.
The choice here was whether I wanted something. So I could have went for Group A and then requested or told them that I wouldn't be able to come for these things, but I still want to perform for these harder pieces, which could have really much like negatively impacted my student life, or just like law school stuff, right?
Good luck propping everything up.
It's fine.
Either that, right, or I played for Group C, which was like less intense or less like pressurizing on my scheduling and whatnot. Yeah.
I think like in terms of trade-offs, like you still had the opportunity to do both things. Okay, like I don't know whether you're interested in law, but like are you interested in law? But I was gonna say like you can do both things that you're interested in. Not everyone's interested in law.
So Daryl, are you interested in law?
Yes.
I'm not.
Okay, so Daryl's actually part of FOCC. He's our FIC Freshers Inauguration Ceremony head.
Yeah.
So in that sense, you've been juggling FOCC as well as band as well as studies. So maybe perhaps is there a trade-off when it comes to juggling these two things, when it comes to maybe like socially or like your sleep, like those kind of trade-offs rather than between each other?
Oh yeah, sleep is definitely the thing. So like it's a very unhealthy way of doing things right now. But currently how I'm intending to like to separate my time is that band stuff is reserved for night time. Like really like publicity work and whatnot is like during the wee hours. Yeah, even practicing also.
You practice in the wee hours?
Yeah,
your neighbors?
my neighbors so far haven't complained so like we just do until they complain Yeah, so that's how I kind of like park my time. So I wouldn't say I was like really affected, I guess.
Do you have sort of like an example of what a day looks like for you?
A day probably you want to pick a day where I got CCA, right?
Yes.
Maybe okay. So for example, let's say we pick. Actually, Wednesday's quite chill. Yeah. So for example, Wednesdays, right? We just have contract tutorials, and that's like
Have you all week?
Yeah.
So after contract tutorials, I'll probably like rush off to U-Town. Then we got like sectionals until like maybe 9:30, 10. Then 10 p.m. Then after that, I come back. Then maybe I might have some publicity work to settle. So maybe that might eat into like the wee hours of the morning. Oh yeah, and just to bring FOCC, that's somewhat similar also for freshmen, the FIC. So yeah, just after practices or whatnot, I'll probably work on the proposal or whatnot.
What does your worst day look like?
My worst day wow. Let me see. My worst day I can't remember now.
Luck lah. No meh?
Okay, what Daryl thinks about this question. So Shawn actually made a face when we started talking about FOCC because he is not at all involved in law school. So why did you make that decision to
You're not
not
in OJ also, right?
No, I'm not. As both of them were saying, I am not involved in any law subclub. I think the very reason was that I felt that, especially in year 1, sem 1, I didn't want to take on more commitments than I could chew. Although there is a tinge of regret lah. You don't get to interact as much with your law mates, which is a good and bad thing, I would say. I think you understand why as you go out the year and you get to know your law school mates better. That like any form of medication, it's a moderate dose that's best lah. So you don't want to interact with people too often. So yeah, it's good to have a good mix of individuals. In terms of FOCC, I would say that kudos really to the FOCC team, but I think the workload is a bit intense lah. I don't know. Is it very intense?
Yeah, I guess for FIC it's like because it changes based on circumstance, so you have to revamp the proposal depending on what the circumstance is.
I think adding on to what Daryl said, I think it really depends on how, number one, the com decides to do their work, and number two, how the chairs and vice chairs decide to run the event. Because, for example, part of the reason why my com has or had such a busy schedule is because I decided to be funny and change night games like 5 times. So yeah, it's kind of my fault and I feel bad for it. But then again, I don't really feel bad for it because the quality of the production quality becomes better. So it's kind of a trade-off. Basically, I think the baseline is the more you want something to turn out well, the more effort you have to put in, and it's whether or not you want to put in the effort.
That's true. Like okay, so I said I was like the publicity officer for Wind Symphony, right? So the person I took over from, she gave this advice. She said, do not over-invest yourself into it, because you can want to do it so well, right? But it comes at a cost because you have to invest a lot of time.
Yeah.
And pubs there is a lot of designing you need to do, and it really is very time consuming. Especially if you want to do outreach also. It's gonna take up a lot of your time. So
But
yeah.
I would say that do something that you enjoy, because I don't think you will find that to be time consuming. So I am doing finance for USP, so I'm basically handling quite a lot of people's requests and budgets and everything. So usually what happens is they will request money from me, then I help them process and help them get back their claims. And I quite enjoy the process of sitting down there, working on an Excel sheet, filling up people's details and then processing claims lah. So you find something that you enjoy, and I don't think that will be too much of an issue. I echo what Shawn says, in the sense that you will put in effort to get something to be the best version that it is lah. But you will only have 24 hours in a day. So I agree in the sense that there is a trade-off in terms of what you need to put effort in. And I think all four of us at this table can agree that in trying to get good products for our like other commitments, what we've lost out on was perhaps putting in the additional 50% effort into our modules lah, which I think all four of us will confess to lah. It does, I think, distract us and take us away from studies, but I would also say that this is a good sort of distraction. I think throughout the course of this particular year, academic year, I think I've seen the importance of taking a break from studies. There's really no point in studying so hard every single day and not actually enjoying university life.
Yeah.
That's very, very true.
I mean, sure, you might want to get first class honors and you're going to chung sua all the way for it lah, and good for you if you do. I think kudos to you. But there are always going to be people, I think, that are better than you in a certain module or better than you in a certain thing, and there's really no point in you completely giving up any form of social life or social activities or even physical activities or sports just so that you can concentrate on your studies. I think you do need to have a holistic life lah. So if you're just a complete bookworm sitting down there and completely studying every single day and not doing any form of outside work, I think your mental health will suffer, and I think that actually might be counterproductive to your academic results also, because you'll burn out very fast. And it's very easy for you to burn out in law.
Yes.
And I think like from what Shawn said, just to add on, like I think like both of our common tutor, Daniel, he said something to me that I think kind of stuck for a bit, which was that after your 4 years, right, if you look back, right, what do you want your university experience to be? Do you want it to be just slogging and studying, just looking at cases, and then your seniors muggers? And then after your 4 years, you say, okay, maybe I did well, but like, what was my university life, or what was my life really in the past 4 years?
Yeah.
Correct, and I don't think you should measure success in terms of grades completely, because actually if you go out to the workforce, although we haven't gone, but honestly, right, no one's going to look at your honor. I mean, yeah, first class honors good for you, you can become a judge or a prof, but like for everyone else that goes into the legal service, no one's going to actually care. What's more important is that you actually have a good reputation. I mean, good reputation in terms of like,
Touchy subject.
don't be a snake. Right. I don't think this will be cropped out, but like, I think it's more important for you to know people, because those connections are going to help you when you go out to work. Those connections are going to help you throughout your life. More than the fact that you got an A+ in Slick, for example.
No, especially the case where like everyone in law school kind of knows each other.
Yeah.
Then after you graduate, right, you're probably gonna find each other in the workplace also commonly.
Yes.
I think it's important where within the context of law school, so just be nice to everyone here. If you take up like certain obligations, like try to like maybe in FOCC or whatnot, try your best to really fulfill them, because it's a team effort situation.
Yeah, don't break our promises. Like, I think that's the worst thing that you could do. If you take on a responsibility, just be responsible for it. And if you can't handle, I think people are more than willing to.
Help you out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
But-
they're very understanding lah.
But then like don't promise something then last minute, like some cannot do something.
Or don't suddenly or don't suddenly just completely go AWOL and
Disappear,
Yeah,
right?
disappear on people. I think that's very important.
Yeah.
I think another thing that I would advocate for is really taking as many opportunities as possible. You can always drop some of the opportunities. I would say that I do regret not going for a bit more law sub clubs, because having found out it was so easy to not attend certain law sub clubs. At least going, then you can try out lah. So don't be like me and immediately close off all the options. Keep your options open, keep your mind open. I will say this in terms of one thing that I'm going for. I haven't gone for it, so I can't really speak that much about it. But I am going to Sweden in end July. for a summer exchange program. The modules don't carry over, but I think it's a fantastic experience for students to go overseas and have something, especially since we've just lasted through 3 years of COVID. Really go overseas, meet different people, have a holistic experience.
Dude, like that day, right, we had our first band practice where everyone just came together. It's just like another experience altogether. Because COVID like set us back for like 3 years of band playing like together. So when everyone came together, right, it was quite fun. It's really very fun.
Yeah, and actively take part in activities. I know next year there will be IFG. There will be ICG also for the colleges. So for IFG, really, if you are into sports and everything, you can take part in law faculty, and I'm sure that will be greatly welcomed by, I don't know who's running IFG.
Actually, so
Yes,
during
promotion
Student
time.
Life Fair on our last day of Freshers Week, you can come down to meet the subclubs as well as the IFG captains. They'll be there to give out more information. Yeah.
And I guess outside of law, like I speak for the arts groups. Like if you want a platform to express yourself, right, I'm actually quite shocked that, like, it's very surprised that NUS actually offers you a lot of platforms for you to go and express yourself. Like as long as you like submit like a short proposal, it's okay. Maybe you want to perform for this year's like here. Which one was it? There's this ExxonMobil concert that usually like it's like open to everyone. Even any of us can apply. Like if you want to perform something there, just give them something, and then you can have an opportunity to go there and like, perform something for an audience.
Actually,
so, yeah.
Actually, even in law school, you can also like just apply to. I don't know which body is the one that is doing it, but I think it may be law club. You can just apply and say that I want to create this interest group.
Yeah.
And then there's an interest group for keyboards.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, and I think a friend of mine from USB Zixin just started a book club also in BTC. So I think there are actually a lot of opportunities. The question is whether or not you really to go and try. And I think both of us will say that you should, and don't worry too much about academics. Honestly, I think bottom of my heart, I think it is manageable. I don't think law school is as difficult as everyone makes it out to be, in the sense that if you put in time and effort, you should be able to get a pass. And I think that's what we all aim for now.
Shouldn't be able to die.
You won't die.
You won't die.
It takes talent to fail lah.
Yeah, it does. It really does. So I would say that you may not be getting A+ for every single module, but
We're not even be getting an
But
A.
do you really want to get A+ for every single module and sacrifice, everything else just for an A+?
correct. I completely agree. So we actually took part in a lot of other stuff, didn't we? Like we even took part in Med Law. So like another round of Captain's Ball.
Captain's Ball.
Daryl, do you take part in Med Law?
Oh, but I want the shirt.
I didn't get the shirt.
Anyone has can sell me.
No, the point is,
If you get it next time.
I got a shirt, but technically I have Jonas's shirt.
But
Then
don't
sell me
have a
Jonas's
shirt.
one.
But I don't have the shirt. I don't have a shirt.
I have
A
a
lot of
shirt.
people like
Wow,
get the shirt.
No, I was in Med Law
We need to
though.
cut this out.
Yes, we'll need
Sorry,
to cut this
Law
out.
Club.
Yes. No,
Hi,
sorry.
Law Club.
Give me my shirt.
I want my shirt also.
Oh, we can talk about the fact that
No.
I mean,
just want the shirt.
okay. Clap, serious. Okay, so I think in terms of student organizations, there's a lot to participate in. You can take part in NUSU.
Gosh.
Oh
It-
gosh.
If you want to.
Okay, yeah.
It's NUS student.
Union,
Just
yeah.
to let you know, okay, I know, like as I mentioned just now, I have a senior that's in NUSU. His timetable is loaded. Like the day we had band practice, right? He was Zoom calling during band practice, and he had like 2 or 3 calls at the same time to take. So like I guess choose your commitments very carefully. NUSU is one of those really much more intense.
But there are people in law that also take part in NUSU.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot actually.
But I think what is important here is to make sure that you're not overcommitted.
Correct.
Yeah.
Because it's one thing to burn out on Acads, it's another thing to burn out on your
Life.
Yeah, social life.
Your
NUSU
social
is
life and stuff.
insane. But although it's very very interesting, cause like my senior tells me stories about like all the university wide like things that happen lah, because like he's inside, right? So
Yeah.
you know all the inner workings of NUS.
I mean, I guess if you are that kind of person, go for it. But I don't think it's for everybody. From what I understand that NUSU
Correct.
does. Yeah.
Have you ever felt burnout from your commitments?
Burnout lah.
I guess burnout from studying. I didn't feel burnout from other
no,
things.
of course band is one of the few things that I go for. Then I want to go for it again.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like
So-
quite energizing.
So I think Daryl and I both agree in the sense that, like, if you do something you're interested in and you have a passion for, then it's more of an escape or a way for you to relieve stress and a way for you to add on stress. So, like, for example, Captain's Ball, I really love Captain's Ball because I'm incredibly unfit. So it's a good way to go around, like, just exercising while throwing balls at people. Yes. Yeah, it's not really stress. I would advocate for you to
Yeah.
go out, exercise, listen to music, do something you enjoy, rather than cooping yourself up entirely in your study rooms and just studying day in, day out.
Yeah. Don't become one of those like law students, right? First thing you open your mouth, I only talk about law.
I think that's all four of us, though. But
Yeah, that's quite true.
that's most law
That's
students.
it,
Lah.
yeah.
But I think that's the demographic, is that we enjoy law to some extent as an educational subject, but don't let them consume your life. Lah.
Yeah.
Mental health is very important.
Mental health is
It is very important.
Spaces
Spaces is amazing. I love Spaces.
Should plug in spaces.
Come
Plug
back
Spaces.
next week to hear the episode with Spaces. Spaces. What is Spaces?
Wait, what is
Spaces
Spaces?
is the
Spaces is a student-led body in NUS Law that focuses on sort of mental health / recreational stuff.
It's basically promoting mental wellness. So if you go into the lift and see the Just Breathe poster or like the
Yes.
Stop and Breathe poster, that's from Spaces.
Yes. And going beyond just posters talking about how you should not feel negative, etc. They also do things like they organize events like the cat cafe or dog cafe, relief / petting / going to a dog cafe session. So yeah, they organize things like that to help you get your mind off law.
You can also find our
Yeah.
resident cats.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's Bella.
Who's cats?
You see Bella.
Is this Utah or is this?
Yeah. We
Oh,
only,
is it?
we only have.
Utah is actually.
No, we used to have. Okay, we used to only have two. Bella and the other one doesn't have a name.
Which is Bella? The
The
black,
black one, the black one.
Ah.
Then now there's a third one.
Yeah, there's a
he's
third
the
one.
male one, the male cat.
he's so
But-
fierce.
Feral though.
yeah, he's not domesticated yet lah. He's quite aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
then-
feed enough food, then they'll be
Yeah,
quite
yeah,
quiet.
fine. Yeah.
He's fat.
But I would say that mental health importance comes in especially. I'll say that this year, so you have to cop around what I'm saying.
It's fine.
So particularly this year, right, we had quite a difficult period of time for a lot of us in USP. So I think the importance is really having a group of friends around that are there to emotionally support one another. Because really being alone when you're faced with a lot of these very difficult emotional situations is quite how do I phrase it? Like being alone is not good lah in this sort of situation. It's good to have a support circle. It's good to have a social circle that is there to help you along and comfort one another when you're in a very difficult situation.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very important. And I think also when it comes to finding a social circle in law is also quite important because there are things that you will go through that if you have people who are outside law, they won't really understand, right? So
People
in
the
that
trauma
sense-
bond together with.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes, trauma bonding.
And like Chris and I are from the same OG, so yeah, be close to your OG mates as well. It's very important.
As much as possible lah. It really depends on how much effort you want to put into keep your OG intact or like just get a bunch of people to just go and eat or something because OGs are grouped by location anyway.
No, I would say that to echo what Shawn echoing Shawn, is
Yes.
that how much you put in is how much you're gonna get out of it lah. So if you put in the effort, regardless, I don't talk about it just in terms of your friend groups or whatever, but really any commitment that you have, how much you put in, how much effort you put in is sort of proportional to how much you get out of it. Of course, don't beat your head against a rock and expect something to succeed. But if let's say we're talking about friends and groups and everything, if you put in effort to go out, interact with individuals, you definitely will have a group of solid friends lah from now.
Yeah. I guess the only caveat to that is Acads in a sense that one of my seniors and my mentor has told me this as well, and I didn't get it at first, but now I sort of get it, which is it takes effort to get an average grade, like for example B or B plus, but beyond B or B plus, whether or not the effort that you put in is representative of the grade you get is a bit more questionable. The correlation between the amount of work you put in and the grades that you get in return past B or B plus is not really there. So yeah.
Oh, I actually like to talk about that. So like with regards to effort that you put in the Acads, right? I guess like the broader idea is I don't think it's like that linear as what Shawn says. Like it also depends on how you like look at yourself and like introspect like am I doing this correctly, or am I answering something correctly, or is this what the department actually wants from you? Like there'll be times when you work hard. Okay, the reality is you work hard, right? Not all the time you go and get B plus or B. Sometimes you just get the shock of your life. Then you get one B minus.
Or C.
Yeah.
A C plus is a shock lah.
Yeah,
I think
yeah.
B minus okay lah.
Yeah, you get a shock of your life lah. But take it with stride. Like a lot of the profs said like it's a 4-year journey lah.
Yeah.
There'll be a lot of opportunities to make up for it. That's one thing.
Do you have a talk on academics?
Yes.
Yeah,
Oh,
come back next week for the talk on Acads and mental health.
Yes.
isn't this for mental
Shameless
health
plug.
also?
Yeah, I
As
mean,
in, yeah.
Yeah,
This is
everything
more-
has mental health. Okay, good.
But
yeah.
there'll definitely be times where like you will feel occasionally you feel rewarded lah. Like
Yes.
I think for myself like I did pretty okay with my criminal law midterms. Like I think I fared pretty okay. So that was like an occasional rewarding moment.
I think the payoff is very high.
Yeah,
when
yeah.
you do get the payoff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's also it can go the other way around also. I don't know, the department's just very extreme. It's either they give you something you don't really like or something you really like. It's very weird.
Yeah.
I think
I
it goes
agree.
back to the fact that I think law school is a new experience for everyone, and you don't. It's not the same as if you were coming from. I mean, if you come from JC and A levels, it's or IB. It's going to be a very big jump in terms of what is expected for you, the way you write, the way you answer questions. I mean, except for Slick lah. Slick is basically MCQ, but everything else there is going to be a very stark difference in expectations, and it's really about how you cope with that, lor. And
Yeah.
back to our topic for this week, I think having a circle outside of law helps. Don't just have a circle of friends from law.
Yes.
yes,
Agreed.
definitely. So, with that, I was just ask if y'all have any like concluding advice that you may want to give to the freshies.
If you have something you're interested in, or like you feel there's a part of you that is not law school, like for me it's like music as like a language for expression, then go and do it. Don't hesitate. Like year one is still the time for you to explore all these things, so don't be afraid to figure out like who are you and what are you like. What are you?
Yeah, just I agree with what he has to say. As I've been repeating throughout this podcast, find something you're interested in and go for it lah. And if you do something you're interested in, you won't find it to be a chore. So I think that will help greatly with, I mean, everything that you're going through lah, in law especially. It will be a good reprieve from law. And of course, watch yourself and take care of yourself throughout the coming year.
Okay. So thank you guys for coming on today. Do keep a lookout on the NUS Law Instagram page for a poll to ask if you guys have any questions, whether that be on the topic as a whole or for Shawn or Daryl specifically. So we look forward to having you guys back next week where we discuss Acads and mental health. Bye bye. Bye.
We didn't agree to this.